while. And again, now you've got a ton of backline dive threat, which Fortune really hates in team fights. And also you got the good ability to try and like play some ability through side lanes as well. It feels like Vitality have a lot of options with the way that this draft has come through.
I will say they have a ton of options, but I feel like their comp is a bit tricky to pilot. I feel like, you know, Kali is something that has a very high bit of executions. Again, that has been stellar, but they need to be finding those flank angles, something that we hit on constantly last game, and we saw Hantera doing a great job of shutting it down.
One thing I will say about this draft from Vitality.Bee, look how much mobility they have. Like, you try and stick on anyone on this team, it's just dashes galore, it's stealth, I mean, Ezreal is notorious for this. I mean, how do you actually lock someone up? Because Jarvan, historically terrible if they can get out of your pool.
Well, that's the thing, is that I feel like the Cataclysm is going to have a ton of value here unless someone's already used some ability. But I feel like the fact that you have the Braum, I think that's going to have so much value. If you can get the passive on anyone, you have multiple auto attackers to lock them down.
Yeah, and I think looking into this early game, I'm definitely looking at this these lane priorities. It feels like Karmine Corp with 3 winning lanes across the board, just open up some 1-1-3 to do what he wants.
Well, that's what we said in game number 1, and it worked when he went for the first chickens, but beyond that point, not so much. We'll see if K-Corp can win lane, win game once more here. We're in game number 2 in this LFL derby that we've got going on today in the the Amazon EU Masters semi-finals. Vitality.Bee, though, did manage to take control, and it was off of the cross maps early on. So I feel like we need to keep our eyes on where these junglers are going to try and play opposite to one another once again.
I will say, I think it's going to be trickier for Skeens, because as much as he has like some setup on the low in the bot lane, it's hard in the Braum, and ultimately you're not going to have it. If you get invaded by 1-1-3, you're not going to have lanes defending you across the map. If you try and go for a gank and then 1-1-3 turns up, the game just completely falls apart.
Yeah, it definitely feels like Skeens kind of needs to play the counter gank role. So almost like swapping what we kind of saw in the last game, whereas 1-1-3, you wanted to match Skeens. Now it feels like it's Skeens who has to try and match 1-1-3, because if you overextend as this Jarvan, you end up investing that flag and drag, well, then you can have some turnaround from Vitality.Bee's side, especially with the amount of CC that's offered from your mid lane, and also with that Leon in the bot lane. Things can turn sideways very quickly with that crowd control.
Now, I want to take a moment here to talk about Jezu. After having such a great game on the Xayah last game, where I'm now going for the Ezreal, which I would argue is one of the signature picks of Reckless, at least historically, years ago. And, you know, both of these guys are Swedish AD carries. And Jezu, a few years younger than Reckless, a few years less competitive experience. I actually spoke to Jezu to ask, and he said that Reckless was one of his inspirations in becoming a pro player himself. But it feels like nowadays, these two AD carries are even, right? These two AD carries both having played in the LEC, now trying to get back to that LEC again. And Jezu sees them as equals, but it's all about the mechanics, right? For Jezu, it's all about his instinct and his ability to play the moment.
And you got to say, it felt good for Jezu in the last game, right? Like, getting that massive CS lead, ton of gold in his favor, and Jezu was able to help Vitality.Bee, at least in the early and mid-game, take over on the map. We'll have to see, though, because this time he's on the back foot with the counter matchup for the Misfortune, and now we got to see if Skeens can have that impact early, but it feels like it's going to be quite difficult for him to play around bot lane as heavily as he did.
And critically, they don't have a ton of vision on 1-1-3, so as much as you see a position like this where Hantera and Reckless are pushed up, you see a window that potentially could be gankable, I feel like you always have to be a little bit cautious.
I think as well, just in the early stages, like Vitality.Bee did a nice job of at least trying to fake where Skeens started as well, right? We saw Jezu hiding in the bush, so with no wards on either side, it feels like both junglers still almost waiting for that moment where they can spot their opposition.
And you can see how scared K-Corp's bot lane are playing, knowing their junglers on the other side. Like, despite the fact that they just hard out-trade this bot lane 2v2, they're really cautious about stepping up. They do not want to get ganked right now.
And it feels like this is very much a redemption story for Vitality.Bee as well. As a team that, you know, there's a lot of talent on this roster. There are some big names on this roster. Ending up 4th in the LFL, didn't quite feel like they were able to transition that at the end of the day. And now, here in the EU Masters semi-finals, they managed to get themselves an advantage. And Seiken, it could be in a bit of trouble here. Has his flash available. Diplex finds the knock-up. Jack Troll a little too slow as the flash comes out from Seiken. 1-1-3 alongside him, but Skeens is not going to stop just yet. He wants a little bit more. Will be charmed. Takes a Q as well, but that's not too much damage. And he's still going to commit to this one. Q goes in, but they won't follow up.
I mean, just a nice job from Vitality.Bee there. And this is what we talked about coming out of draft, right? When you've got the Ezreal, leave him on his lonesome in the bot lane. Jack Troll just finding that quick moment to move up into this mid lane. Now burns the flash in, buying space for Diplex to kind of scale into this matchup with that Sylas.
I will say one issue is often when I see a flash burn, I'm like, okay, when is the return gank going to be? But ultimately, it's an Ahri. You know, you have 2 levels before she's 6, and at that point becomes so difficult to pin her down and try and find a gank.
So what you're saying is we're going to see Skeen sprinting straight in mid lane out of the base now. Take that small window to find the gank.
But you see critically, 113 is actually moving to help crash the wave. You also saw Hantera on the map moving over to offer some assistance and backup. And so they will make sure Saken's not going to get punished, at least right now.
And I love to see this, like, just having a heads-up play from Karmine Corp. And I think that's something that, like, you see from these top teams in the EU Masters is just how efficient they are at making sure that they are covering potential plays that can come through from the opposite side. But
oh, hang on, Reckless is going to get engaged on by Jack Troll, I think, because Jack Troll finally finds the Zenith Blade there, bit of CC, but Hantera just stands like a brick wall, but the Ignite burns past the bricks. It's not quite enough damage, but it's a great little 2v2 from Vitality.
Yeah, Reckless just way too focused on the wave and trying to zone out Jeskla. It's something, when we saw that roam from Jack Troll towards mid, they did a lot of work trying to keep Jeskla away from the wave, but it hasn't amounted to much. Jeskla is still pretty even in CS, and now you burn 3 summoners in that play.
And now you've got 2 lanes that you're going to have to worry about as Karmine Corp. I know Saken, as we said, will hit 6 soon, but you've still got pressure now as 113, where if you're trying to keep your lanes in check, you're not being able to play through the strong lanes that we highlighted. Like, you have priority top, mid, and bot. You should be having a field day as 113, but because we're actually seeing Vitality.Bee getting that early pressure, they're the ones that are nullifying Karmine Corp's early game.
Is there any early dragons potentially on the board here? Dragon is onto the map. We saw a fairly early one in the first game from Vitality.Bee. They were able to stack 4 dragons back to back. Are we anticipating something similar with this Lee Sin pick?
I don't think necessarily, because I think you don't have the prio typically on the side of Vitality.Bee, but I think for K-Corp, if you end up in the Dragon Pit against the likes of a Lee Sin, Silas, it's just so scary.
Yeah, I think you really need to make these picks happen before you can have that kind of tool. But obviously, because Karmine Corp right now, like, we get Hantera roaming around the map, trying to see if you can establish some vision on top side. It feels like more so, at least with the wave position, the wave is positioned for Reckless and the spot side, they are just going to try and set up for this Rift Herald in just a minute and a half's time. And especially when you have, like, level 6s, which will be hit by Reckless, level 6 for 113, trying to utilize these strong ultimates coming online, does feel like the best way for Karmine Corp to really put this game in their favor.
Diplex grabbing himself that Spirit Rush could signal that perhaps Vitality do want to try and force something. They have the priority in the mid lane now, but it will be Diplex actually going for a reset. But still, Skeen's going to commit to this Dragon regardless. So that will be the first strike of the game for Vitality here. In the meantime, look at 113, taking a red buff, but perhaps could make a play towards Shigenda.
Yeah, I think they can. I mean, they stacked up that massive wave bot so Reckless could reset. No. They move up to the top side. They don't care about the Dragon. And Shigenda, there's so little you can do on this.
He knows what's coming. The Crying Bee comes out. Shigenda stuck under the tower. We saw this game. There are 4 of them. Hantera's moved over as well, but Diplex is en route. Perhaps Shigenda can buy himself more time. Actually stealthing his way through this play so far. Dashes out of the play with the Shuriken. What a play, but his first blood still going the way of K-Corp. Diplex now trying to turn it around, but he's 1v3. He arrived on the scene, but it's too little and it's too late. The healing, is it going to be there with the W? Diplex over the wall, jumps back on in, but he doesn't have the damage.
Trying to hold on for so long with that last little bit of the Ahri, but the Ahri ult, but unfortunately will end up falling. On the opposite side though, Vitality.Bee making some work happen.
That's a critical thing, right? Although it's still a favorable play for K-Corp in terms of the kills they got there, it took so long that Vitality.Bee got complete control. Not only did they get the Dragon, they're denying some farm. Oh, Jack Troll should be okay just to walk that out. But yeah, 2 plates taken, and a lot of minions denied away from Reckless. And have a repeat of that game 1.
And now no ultimate for Reckless as well. So Vitality.Bee potentially crash this wave, reset, look for Rift Herald. Like, there are options here for Vitality.Bee to actually try and turn this play into a bit more of a positive play for Vitality.Bee. But Shigenda, how do you manage to avoid all this?
So much time was bought by the stealth, and then so many tools were used by K-Corp without vision. Critically, just using his cooldowns there to gain some distance, and yes, he does end up going down to the Ignite, spirits him out, but then Diplex just buying so much time in the long play.
Yeah, he tried to use this last Ahri dash over the wall, but just wasn't quite able to save him. I think he was like, oh, I'm going to die anyway. But, I mean, the Corrupting Pot coming in with that last tick, it seemed like he was going to be fine, but unfortunately, just ends up going back into his death.
Well, you know, he was on the wrong side of the map, so I think he would have struggled to make it out anyway, but fair effort from Diplex and Shigenda in a 2v4, still managed to return one kill.
I have to say, though, like, Diplex has been doing really well in this matchup, right? Like, he got the early attention, now he's got this 10 CS lead for himself, so even though we're looking at a kill apiece, despite the fact that you kind of have Ari with that range advantage, the ability to push in the lane, Diplex is the one coming out with a CS advantage.
What I say is we look at the damage done with the denial away from Shigenda. Over 20 CS lead for Coward Shot, and we saw how strong this Graves was, how much damage he could do.
Skeens is going to go for a play. We talked about the lead, and immediately it is denied. Skeens grabs that kill for himself, and that'll be an opportunity for Shigenda to shove a wave. Is Diplex just going to force an engage? Jarvan's the Jarvan, and now walks away with his life. Jeskla to pick up the kill, and a solar flare. Hantera dodges it, but at the cost of his life, has to jump to his teammate. Maybe he can escape on this one, but a Q from Jeskla finishes the job.
And this is exactly what we talked about. Vitality.Bee get that push in bot, they reset, Jeskla comes mid, Jeskla hits a charm, Jeskla,
oh my god, the turret! Oh, Seiken! That was gorgeous!
I mean, that was kind of silly.
Yeah, I mean, and now 80 carry down, resets are coming in from K-Corp, the Herald can't be done, so Vitality.Bee, despite winning out in the fight, don't get the objective.
And now, as you said, like, turret plate's evening up for Reckless in the bot lane. Now he's evening up on the CS as well. Like, you're not going to match the 2 kills, but things are starting to right the wrongs of that bot side, and it all looks so good from Vitality.Bee to start off with. Shigenda getting this quick pick was wonderful.
Yeah, and then what we see is K-Corp are like, okay, we're a man down. If we want to contest the Herald, we need a pick now. But the flash coming out from Jack Troll ends up buying time. They try and disengage, and it's instantly turned around. Vitality.Bee there with a chase down.
And I mean, look, this is actually like great from Vitality.Bee, right? Crash the wave, then you can move over. It's all looking wonderful, but Jeskla just not respecting Seiken and doesn't spot him over the wall. And then Charm hits, and he just falls down.
He could have just like arcane shifted over the wall to join in. Like, it was just unnecessary.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate from Jeskla. Did not expect Seiken to be there. I think he must have expected a reset or something. I don't know. Either way, though, we do have Herald being kicked off here by Skeens.
Yeah, so Skeens will be able to take the Rift Herald all said and done. So the advantages that we're talking about for Karmine Corp not coming to fruition, right? You've got push mid, push and bot, dragons in favor of Vitality.Bee. All right, well, you know, push mid, push top, Rift Heralds in favor of Vitality.Bee. We haven't really seen Karmine Corp use their lane strength to set up objective strength, and this is where you're starting to see the crux of Vitality.Bee and why they might be able to pull away.
Yeah, and critically often if a team is fully committed to Herald, we see them move the 80 carry up, but Reckless is kind of being like stagnant, stuck bot lane. Kind of a consistent thing we saw last game as well, just not moving.
Playing that weak side and just committing to it, making sure. I mean, in terms of farm, he's doing great, right? He's still managing to keep even on that bottom side. I'm more looking towards Seiken this game in the mid lane with 2 kills already, doing well on the CS. And it feels like with this Drake up in 15 seconds, Seiken has priority mid. Maybe there's something K-Corp can do.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was hoping to see from Seiken, right? I think he's worked best when he's able to be on these champions that can look for roams, champions that can play through sides, especially up towards Cabal Shard. Like, we've seen it with the Rises, the Aries, the Twisted Fates, but even on this pick, he hasn't exactly been able to get too much done. It's more in the skirmishes, so his side lanes will definitely need a little bit of attention. But Vitality.Bee now starting up the Dragon. They've got a great position here, and with no real vision, I don't think Karmine Corp can contest.
And it's going to be taken already. Yeah, the Drake just goes the way of Vitality.
And I feel like this is kind of rough, right? Because we had triple prior lanes from K-Corp. We have 1-1-3 on an early ganking jungle, which is huge priority on in EU Masters. And yet first,
1-3 wants to make something happen. Solar Flare, though, to deny the engage. Jack Troll might go back in because Diplex is on the backside of the play. Seiken chases him out. Reckless is here, though. And Vitality committing to a fight where they do not have the numbers. Seiken might find a bonus kill here. Misjudges the charm. Tried to predict the flash, but it doesn't happen.
It couldn't quite get it, but Diplex will walk away. I think it was just greedy from Vitality.Bee, though. Like, you didn't really have Jeskla in a position to try and follow up. Karmine Corp now moving in.
There's going to be a flash coming out. Is Jeskla now a little bit too far forward? No flash for him, but he is playing Ezreal, so you can anticipate his he'll come back up in just a second, and he'll be okay.
I think that's why there's so much confidence there, because you're into a Braum, you're into a Java, and Ezreal's so safe into these, so hard to engage onto. Honestly, my point I was saying before, despite K-Corp feeling like they would have the early favor, this is Vitality.Bee with 2 dragons and the first Herald, and looking to get first tower here. And
yeah, they just need a hit or two and they'll finish the tower. 1-1-3's got to be careful. That's going to be the ultimate out from Reckless and actually saves the tower here. Seiken off in the wings. Jack Troll trying to buy space for his team. Drops a ward, spots everything. Diplex is here too.
Yeah,
Vitality.Bee, they really want that tower.
I don't think it's defendable at this point, honestly. It's so low. But they do keep the last plate alive at least, but the first tower gold's still going to go over.
And I think we're seeing like one of the big reasons why I kind of favored Vitality.Bee in this matchup is the way that Vitality.Bee are to use set plays. It feels like Vitality.Bee very much when they have like priority mid are able to rotate down to the bottom side, look for good dives. 1-3.
Oh, Schemes is going to go for it, and Diplex is there with open arms. You want to see set plays? That was beautiful.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. How good they are using, hey, we've got a little bit of movement here. Let's try and get towards mid. Let's try and get towards sides. Let's set up for these plays. But Karmine Corp just haven't been able to do that. And here you see it. Jack Troll, doesn't matter that he can't get it. Skeens again. This Lee Sin is looking so good in his hands.
And honestly, I'm going to say at this point, I felt at game one, I don't know why they don't just ban it. It has been so good, and particularly the fact that game one, that defining moment right at the end, so good from Skeens.
Cleans, as it were, on this Lee Sin, just looking amazing. And Diplex, you know, always there to catch the easy throws. Shigenda could be in trouble, though. Seiken going to go slightly wide in the Everfrost. Shigenda's done this before. Cabashot kind of low on HP. You do need to be cautious on this one as he tries to escape, tries to buy time. It's not going to work out quite like last time, though. It is a pick for K-Corp in... Oh, it just appeared late, that's all. That broke my brain. I thought there was a kill elsewhere on the map.
Ultimately, didn't have ultimate there, wasn't close to tower, just ends up being a little bit overextended. I do feel like K-Corp are doing good to set up these picks. It does just feel like they're kind of catching people overextended from Vitality.Bee, but the Ahri is so good in those situations.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of interesting to see the build Shigenda's gone for as well, because he is going for the Riftmaker build, so trying to be a little bit more tanky, trying to see if he has that bit more of survivability in these fights, but does mean that like when he's trying to get onto backline access like Reckless, won't have that same burst power, but it kind of makes sense when you've got like Diplex, Skeens, or even Jeskla as well with that ultimate, who can all help you get that damage in the backline. So having that survivability can pay dividends for Shigenda.
Plus having to move over to the mid lane to try and contest priority. A minute and a half until this Drake comes up, but everybody here right now... Oh, I thought Schemes was going to go and try and cue the crab there, but it will be 1-1-3 to pick that one up as Shigenda dashes over the wall. Schemes smiting away that blue buff.
And I will say, Hextech Soul would be fantastic for Vitality.Bee, but critically, the Hex Gates being here actually make a massive difference. We talked so much about the flanks being really important for Vitality.Bee. It just opens up extra ways to approach.
Jeskla taking a bit of damage here. Is Ezreal though, so at the end of the day, you're not too worried about him. We'll be able to just dash away if anything happens. Remember, Ezreal takes a little while to really start hitting properly. Oh, there's another charm! Seiken just cannot miss. He's got a Jeskla magnet.
I gotta say that, Jeskla, you don't need to be that close to the wall. You could have just played it a bit further back. Your Ezreal, your range is kind of insane, and now he is going to be back up in time for Dragon, but they lose so much control of the area.
Yeah, and it felt like a weird kind of lane assignment from Vitality.Bee as well, right? Like 3 members of Vitality.Bee on the bot side. You've got 2 kind of hovering in mid with both your AD carry and your mid laner there. So now Vitality.Bee going to be spotted, but yeah, they got to back away. This has just been a little bit sloppy from Vitality.Bee in this mid game.
I think Vitality.Bee are like, you know what? They did spot us, but they weren't expect if we just commit anyway. Just sticking around in this.
Now they know we're here. It'd be really weird for us to stay.
Exactly.
This is where we just start the stopwatch again. See if we can beat last game's record for how long we're going to stick around the dragon, you know?
It's going to be the Sky's Bloom here to try and clear some of the vision away as Kamashard doesn't know that all 3 are still here. And you know what? We laugh, but the play has worked out. It's a pick on Kamashard, and now the rest of K-Corp are moving in. Seiken gets caught by the Q of Skeens. No follow-up for now. Jeskla hits Reckless with his True Shot Barrage. Shigenda in the middle of everyone is in. They climb. Vitality just wipe K-Corp out of the jungle.
Just such good execution. Everyone, when they see a target, they all commit together using the ability that the comp has and just wipe them off the rift. And now 3rd dragon in pocket, huge for Vitality.Bee.
I've been so impressed with Diplex on this Silas. Like, I love that we're getting to see this guy really step up on the Amazon EU Master stage, because he came in, I mean, against big names like Seiken, and people are like, yeah, you know, we're going to look elsewhere. But when you make plays like this, you have to stand up and be accounted. And look, this is a great pick from Vitality.Bee. You can see that Shigenda's kind of going, hey, look, we can get a bit more here as Vitality.Bee starts to back off because they see how many members of Karmine Corp are coming through. But keep your eyes on Diplex as he comes in. That great Everfrost roots up 2, sets up beautifully for Skeens with the kick. Jeskla is there for his waiting hands. That is gorgeous execution and coordination from Vitality.Bee.
And even just Segenda forcing the flag and drag and the Braum ultimate, dodging them both with his ult. Just, I feel like Segenda on the Akali, Skeens on the Lee Sin, and Diplex on the Silas. What a trio.
And then, hilariously, Jeskla just easing at the end, having done very little, gets the 700 gold shut down. All me, baby.
But look how quick this game is starting to snowball and escalate, right? You've 3 dragons pre-20 minutes already for Vitality.Bee. It's Hex Soul as well, which is going to be so good, as we already pointed out, for Vitality.Bee. Now another Rift Herald going in their favor. It feels like Vitality.Bee have the tools to actually start to snowball this game, and it's not the same as last game, where they had that Cloud Soul, not enough of a kind of a boon to help them. This time around, they are picking up some really strong tools.
They got all 3 dragons and both heralds, despite the fact we saw triple cryo lanes from K-Corp earlier. I just feel like it's kind of criminal, and especially K-Corp, a team we praise so heavily for having a fantastic early game, just haven't been able to find it here.
Gotcha. Say criminal. There you go.
Criminal.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if we go into the French lessons, lads. I'm not sure any of us are qualified for that one. Here we go.
Grace. What are you talking about?
C'est très bien. I'm going to stop that before I get arrested. It's going to be the tower attempted to be pushed to the mid lane. The Herald used as well, almost taken down in favor of Vitality.Bee. So both, Seiken actually gets his recall cancelled. Diplex toying with the idea of following up on that one, but 113 sticks around with his mid laner. He'll keep him safe. With these resets, maybe Jessica can finish the tower.
Again, though, Vitality.Bee setting up again. This is what we're talking about. Like, hey, we know how we want to try and aggress forward here. Get some vision control down, set up for this mid lane, and now Jessica can get that while they're still protecting Shigenda on the bot side. And Karmine Corp with this composition, if you don't know where multiple members of Vitality.Bee are, it becomes very difficult for you to try and play forward, like aggress the way you want to with the combo you have.
And I think that's a critical thing, is coming into this next dragon fight is ensuring you have control and you have eyes on Vitality.Bee, because if anyone ends up coming onto your flank, you know, Reckless finds it very difficult to pop off an ultimate if he's thinking about the Akali who is coming in from the side. And I feel like K-Corp want that front to back. They want known quantities when it's seeing where the enemy team are. So they do get the mid lane tier 1, but they have 2 minutes 15 to try and get control of the dragon area.
Yeah, I think the fact that mid lane tower goes down, though, does help them a little, because as a unit, Karmine Corp can actually bully out through the mid lane and then lean into River to try and clear out some of the vision. And honestly, they have good vision control set up, and they've kind of been using these quick resets to make sure that they are establishing themselves in River first, so they have some tools to work with.
One thing I will definitely say in favor of K-Corp is, comparatively to game number 1, this is way more even. Look at the goal difference right now. Just 200, 300 between the teams. It's just those Drakes in favor of Vitality right now. And, you know, Skeens with a lot of the gold. That's great now, but won't be great later.
I think the big problems, though, are look at Reckless. No Mura mana complete. Is still waiting on that Manamune, so hasn't hit that big spike. Whereas when you look across at Jeskla, he's already there. He's working up towards his Eclipse, so he's in a good spot. Shadow Flame Forsaken, though, can do work in these fights.
I think the big thing for me is the fact that we have Cataclysm, we have the Misfortune ultimate, we have the Graves ultimate. Fantastic if you can get someone to stay in that. But that is so hard to do. That easy to execute comp, you know, they put everyone on the hot pot, doesn't work if they're just going to keep bouncing out. So K-Corp, if they can get Vitality.Bee to overextend, and once some abilities burned, then they turn it around, that's kind of the window.
Especially when you look at the amount of flashes that are on their side as well. It just feels like not only do you have mobility, with flashes, it becomes even harder.
Jeskla, he's been charmed before. Seikens over the wall. I'm real scared. Oh, no. The charm actually lands. Over the wall goes Seiken, but the Q didn't connect. And that's actually going to be Seiken's ult. The Spirit Rush down 40 seconds before Drake.
Hey, you actually take that, right? Heal, not going to be as much of a concern. Seiken, they kind of have to slow play it now to wait for his ultimate to come back up, because without it, I mean, I just don't think there's any way to win the team fight.
I mean, 30 seconds, though. I mean, Vitality.Bee already shoving in the mid lane. They've got bot control as well, and now they're starting to lean in. 113 can't just hop out over the wall, so he'll be fine, but you have control of the river for Vitality.Bee, and that was the big one.
I'll say, no, it's bullet time as well. These charms are great for Seiken, but way too much commitment to the plate, and now Vitality.Bee with no ults on either carry surely can take control of this area. 113 trying to move in, Diplex over the wall, trying to deny vision.
at the damage coming across as well from Jeskla, and this feels great for Vitality.Bee. Shigenda out of vision. Diplex hiding here, does try to get onto Cabo, but you're starting to see the Dragon whittle down, and Karmine Corp aren't set up.
113 managed to take that Baron away in game number 1. Can he do the same to this Dragon Soul? Dashes in, immediately locked up Solar Flare there. Jack Troll on the front line, but he's kind of been abandoned and goes down. Skeen's now trying to move in. His Diplex 1v1 in Seiken. The Dragon is taken away, and now Jeskla has to carry the fight. On the backside, he's still full HP. He's firing away. He's got his passive. There's a shutdown onto Reckless. Shigenda trying to chase Seiken. His Diplex gets Hantera, and it's a double for Jeskla. Charm comes out from Seiken, but Shigenda has the knives to keep throwing away. The Shuriken on cooldown. But look at Cabashard. He's on the wrong side of the map. He's got nowhere to go, but he wants a 1v1 with Diplex. I think he might survive.
Yeah, I mean, you get the smite for 113, but now the Baron for Vitality.Bee. Diplex is trying to keep away with Cabashard. Even have Jack Troll coming out of the base, but I don't think he'll be able to find him.
He has found him. I'm not sure that's a 1v1 that Jack Troll can take, but he can keep Cabashard in the play. Cabashard trying to execute to the tower. He will be able to do so, but ultimately, the Baron goes the way of Vitality.
And that's the thing. K-Corp critically do deny the soul. It would have been a disaster if they hadn't got the smite, but they still lose out in the play. They end up committing over the wall to try and get the steal, and 113 does secure it, but Reckless right now doesn't have ult, has to flash over the wall to follow up. So much committed to this Leona, and then we get the beautiful kick that actually connects with Reckless, and then the follow-up, right? Gender does so much here.
And Jeskla is just free hitting this entire time as well, not really under any much threat on the backline. Shigenda kind of keeping Reckless there in the pit, and it just felt like, I mean, for Karmine Corp, there were some low health bars on Vitality.Bee. If you had Reckless's ult for that fight, this could have been a very different story, but these overcommitments of those key abilities just before the scrap coming back to bite them.
And I think we're starting to witness the other side of all these dashes we talked about. We talked about the interaction with bullet time and cataclysm, but if you try and escape, if you fall behind in these fights, you cannot run from Vitality.Bee. They will hunt you down.
I think they're still going to go hunting as well here. Hantera.
Hantera's going to face check. Is this Braum? And actually maybe some picks for K-Corp. Finally a window as they find 2 for themselves. It's the jungle and support. Seiken wants a little more into Jeskla, but it will be 2 picks, and that's crucial for K-Corp.
And honestly, just, you know, a really nice play to see. You expect Vitality.Bee, they got the Baron, they want to get control of the jungle, and you end up setting a trap with 5 members. And now, yes, they still got some gold for the Baron, but they're going to lose a lot of the time on the buff.
And it just felt like it was a little bit too quick for Vitality.Bee. Shigenda hadn't got his priority in the top side. Like, look at him on the mini-map. Like, you're under no pressure as Karmine Corp, so you're free to take the 5v4 here, and just Vitality.Bee being where they shouldn't have been. Just they needed to back away, wait until Shigenda had the waves and check. Then you can get that vision control when there's pressure being drawn for Karmine Corp to the top side.
Yeah, there's no wave pushed up top. There was no wave mid either. That bot wave was just about to come in. There was no reason for K-Corp to be forced into those positions, so it was good timing for them, but ultimately Vitality.Bee overstepping. And now, I mean, you can even look at the top right. The gold is just about even for what they gained with the Baron. Not great.
Oh, Reckless has been caught. Jack Troll on the target. Ignite is there, but it's good shield from Hantera. Reckless will survive just about, but Jack Troll doing the majority of that damage as well, hilariously.
Yeah, I mean, with the Ignite and having that ultimate from the Ezreal coming over the top, that was a lot of hurt going on to Reckless. But now you get Karmine Corp trying to see if they can make the pick onto Diplex, but you have Vitality.Bee establishing themselves on the bottom side.
This at minimum will be a tier 2. Diplex with the reactions and maybe with a kill on 113 if he can keep this up, but Spirit Rush out to safety, and that was Cabashard's TP as well.
I mean, fast fingers on Diplex there, the young man showing that this is what you get with the youth rather than, you know, Reckless getting caught out. Diplex, that was pretty damn clean.
Is that a low-key insult to Reckless's hands?
No, it's more me feeling very old.
Oh,
because I'm about the same age as Reckless. Yeah.
I will say one thing though, this means Diplex won't have the Ahri ultimate available for this dragon fight, but look at the control they have of this boss side area. This is really where they focused, and now K-Corp have to very carefully approach to try and sweep out this vision, because it's going to be Soul again if in 50 seconds they have to fight and deny this.
Skeens and Jack Troll in the brush on a control ward. Last time they did this, they got picked off. This time around, though, trying to do it a little bit more defensively, closer to the rest of their team.
But look at Reckless in the mid lane, right? It means that if Vitality.Bee actually get themselves established in the jungle here, you don't really have the tool for Reckless to come over. He has to take the long way around, as you're seeing, but Vitality.Bee haven't looked for the engage. They have multiple different flank routes already cleared out, though, which is a disaster for Karmine Corp right now.
It's going to be a tough one for Karmine Corp, that has to be said, as Jeskla going to find an ulti. And one, that's the jungler. He's the most important player of Karmine Corp in this situation.
And unlike last game, there's no Gromp for you to go heal up on. He's going to have to reset.
Off Gromp.
Absolutely off Gromp. Diplex applying pressure mid. Dragon about to come in. I think K-Corp just have to give this one up. An absolute disaster for them.
Yeah, I mean, a miracle would have to happen, although it is a Hex case, so you can already see the Jarvan is back here,
God.
but it's going to be gone already. Jack Troll not going to be caught out. Walking back, Cabo now in trouble.
Yeah, now the engage. Jack Troll going to start it off, and Terra gets a knock up onto Skeens, but it's just going to be the disengage. Vitality.Bee, they don't need the immediate fight. They have the Dragon Soul. Seiken over the wall. Jeskla's very charmable right now, but he'll dodge it.
Yeah, I mean, look, Jeskla still playing on a knife's edge with Seiken, but Seiken not able to get the charm that time around, so they will manage to escape with the Hex Soul.
And I think the problem is now, you already had a team that had a mobility advantage over you. Apart from the Ahri, it really felt like so much mobility available to Vitality.Bee, especially with Diplex stealing away the Ahri ult. But now they have the Hex Soul, there's going to be those constant slows applied in fights, and it's going to become even more of an issue.
It's just going to be resets across the board here for Vitality.Bee. And I just want to reiterate that coming in today, Vitality.Bee, they were looking for revenge, right? And it is feeling good if you're a Vitality.Bee fan, right? Because this has been confident, calm play, but game number one, they got the soul. And historically, we've seen very long games from Vitality.Bee. We still need to see them actually finish this off cleanly.
Yeah, but this is standard, right? Like, their average is about 33, 34 minutes. So we're still kind of looking to see, hey, look, next Baron that's in 20 seconds, how does this one interact? Because again, you're kind of seeing Vitality.Bee setting up for the vision control that they need. Shigenda is pushing in on bot side, but no real, like, TP flank ward, apart from that one that's just beside Silas there. That's where you're going to be looking to see if they can try and TP in and make some plays happen, but Karmine Corp kind of brute forcing their way into River here.
And now looking for Diplex here. They have members to collapse, but he's gotten away from sticky situations before.
Should get an immediate TP here. Cabashot just trying to get 1v1 by Diplex, but the knockup denies Diplex's dash. And now suddenly Cataclysm in. 1-1-3 just gets one shot by Shigenda. Reckless has arrived. Skeens gets shield, keeps himself safe. Cabashot, though, wants to deny that. The kick into Hantera, and Shigenda finds Reckless. It's beautiful from Vitality.Bee.
That was insane. That looked like it was Karmine Corp all the way. Diplex is out of the equation. You've got Karmine Corp set up beautifully for this front to back, but Shigenda destroys the back line. A beautiful kick from Skeens after the base, and it all falls apart.
It's basically a 4v5. They delete Diplex, and then in the recurring fight, we see Shigenda doing so much work on the back line, and they just aren't able to approach. Huge kick coming out from Skeens as well. We see Reckless finally joins the fight, only to get jumped on immediately by the Akali. That kick coming in at the same time. I think that's the moment K-Corp knew they weren't winning this.
The stun from Jack Troll, the heal from Jeskla, the tears from Karmine Corp fans as Vitality.Bee will win the fight. Now they're on the Baron, and was already looking like it was looking dire for Karmine Corp. Just got a hell of a lot worse.
They certainly did. Vitality.Bee in commanding position now. Shigenda played an absolute blinder in that fight, it has to be said. Level 17 now on that Akali, and not showing any signs of stopping, close to finishing off a Void Staff. So if you thought Seiken and Reckless died quickly, that fight, it's only going to get quicker.
Yeah, and there's a reason we see so many bans towards the threat EU Masters, because it is such a massive threat. If you don't absolutely cripple it in the laning phase, it will become this monster later on. And I feel like Reckless, we haven't seen a good bullet time this whole game. He just doesn't get a chance to sit there and press it.
Diplex going to try and find the engage. It's True Shot Barrage as well. There's a decent bullet time, but it's only onto Jack Troll because of the stopwatch. And now Capo Shot just gets deleted. Finally gets out over the wall. Somehow survives by the skin of his teeth. But look at the mid lane.
Yeah, Shigenda wasn't even in this fight. He's just going to push in the mid lane. Vitality.Bee have pressure on bot as well. And where's your wave clear for Karmine Corp? Because you can't match both waves at once.
Forget your wave clear. Where are your players? The bot lane tower goes down. Vitality.Bee without even finding a pick find themselves the tower. 1Q from Jeskla is almost half of Kabashard's health, and this just feels indefensible.
Yeah, so much damage, lethality available to this Ezreal as well. Just hitting the squishy so hard. OTP flank.
So Neverfrost trying to deny the engage. 113 gets onto Dimplex, has the Spirit Rush to use. Kabashard onto the Silas in the back line, but a good disengage. Shigenda actually goes further forward, and boom! Shigenda takes over! Now Kabashard, last man standing, taken down, and Vitality.Bee are here to make a statement.
Skirmishes with the game ender crushes Corp in that one, and Vitality.Bee gonna go 2-0 up.
I mean, the beehive is buzzing, the Karmine blue wall is falling. Vitality.Bee at 2-0.
Unbelievable team fight coming out from Shigenda as well. Across the course of the last two fights, like every single fight towards